but yeah, I was in this fellowship program in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's for artists and so visual artists and writers. And it's really sold on like you get you get free place to live, you have a stipend, you have workspace, everything's free, and you get a stipend. Yeah, so that it's free and you get a stipend. And so it just on the page looked awesome. It was sort of like what for a very long time I had been looking for, so I was really excited about it, but I also knew it meant leaving behind my entire community, being someplace different. And there were a lot of red flags in that process. Even signing my contract, there was like a red flag of like, I quit my job and then I didn't have on paper that I was for sure in the program. So I ended up emailing being like, am I really, I just quit my job. So am I really going to be there? And just like all these like little red flags happening all around me. And what I could tell was that it was a program that was brand new. And I think I came in with a spirit of like, they're figuring out their things. I'm sort of a guinea pig, but if I kind of lay low, I just do my work, free rent, my life will be okay, just kind of suck it up, you know what I mean? And other people were having very serious problems with staff and like sort of the transition into this program, things like their studios not being available, visual artists bringing in really expensive equipment and then not having a place to store, like all of this mess around me. And I kept being like, no, nothing doesn't affect me, but like I can still sit at a coffee shop and write plays. It's not disrupting my everyday. It's not like anyone's physically being harmed or anything big, but it was this weird test because it was like, I know there are things going on that I don't agree with and I think are wrong. And yet I don't know my place in like speaking up and saying anything. And I saw a range of different reactions. I saw some people just completely check out. I saw some people get very angry and confront not only the foundation staff, but the board, et cetera, et cetera. And I was kind of in the middle of like, what do I do? How do I make through with this, So I did a year of that program, just kind of in this weird space of like, okay, the first year of anything is weird, but I'm hopeful that they're listening and I can make this work for myself. I hustled so hard to get here. This is, on social media, this looks like an amazing experience or opportunity. I don't want to mess this up. Then like towards the second year, I was really starting, some of the administration changed over. And so all of a sudden, you get hopeful, a second wave of hope. You're like, okay, new people are in, so maybe things will get better for us. Maybe it'll chill out. And some of the more extreme things happening were like other artists like getting in screaming matches and weird things with our contracts. Were just like a laundry list of like, it was just like red flags like exploding all around me. And again, I'm cool with people. Like I haven't burnt any bridges. I'm like right in that safe, mediocre middle spot. I'm not pissing off anybody. I'm doing my job. I'm friendly with people. But again, like in my heart of hearts, I just was like, I have a problem with this, and I also have a problem figuring out how to say anything about it. So I mean, for me, the change piece was like kind of really assessing, because again, this was like a year and a half's time. This was not an instantaneous, I've got to get out. But I did start listening to the Get Out soundtrack after a while. Just being a weirdo, I would like play the Get Out soundtrack, like the first song, it's like the African drums. I would stare out my window and be like, I have to get out of here. I have to get out of here. How am I going to get out of here? And so I started to like, I really did this. It's ridiculous now. But I started to look at some other, like, what are some other pathways for me? Because part of what kept me there were financial concerns. It's not like I come from a lot of money and I've got all these savings. I had just put all my savings into moving there. And then this was my main financial support. So it meant really changing my money situation, which again, I don't come from money. So like, how do I manage that? So I ended up like just very slyly and quietly applying to things and quietly telling my friends, I am looking for a way out. And I suggest that you do too. Everyone had a different relationship. So I don't want to impose on anybody, but I was just like, look, some things are really alarming to me. I think I'm going to make that jump. And so by the end of 2018, so that was December, I had already signed a contract with the program to continue a third year as my safety net. So a little shady that I signed this contract kind of while I was pursuing the exit route. But then the exit route happened, and I thought, great, I can break the contract now, and it won't be like I'm on the hook kind of taking their money while also trying to get away from them. That just felt like a very weird relationship, to be like, I don't stand for what you stand for, and yet I'm going to cash a check from you every month. It just felt very, you know what I mean? It's like living with some integrity, some connection of like, me participating says that I condone the way that you're treating the people who work for you, when I know in my heart that the way that you're treating people is not correct, even though it's not me that's being targeted, you know? So 2019, you know, I took a risk. I was like, I'm gonna, instead of a full length or full year rather internship, I'll do a bunch of little ones. And I had it mapped out till spring, and then it was a big question mark. Like, I don't know what my life is gonna look like. I don't know where I'm gonna be. I don't know how I'm gonna make money, but I'm just gonna go and do this, because again, the idea of like staying with this thing, which again, financially, the smart decision would have been to just shut my mouth, take their money, and suffer. Financially, that would have been smart. But in terms of my happiness, the route was to get out. And it was really remarkable that when I did get out and I got into this other very short term, and we're talking 2 months, so you have to move all your shit to go someplace for 2 months, and you have to do it all over again and be somewhere else. But I went to Memphis, and I had actually, like, what I had been wanting the whole experience was to really feel a part of like a creative community. The other people there were so great. I would have never met those artists. Some of them are still friends of mine. There were people from all over, from China, Italy, Canada. So it ended up being like a really good risk for me to take. But I think the lessons learned, it kind of come on the other side of that. The lessons learned were really about me, number one, advocating for myself. And I saw lots of different examples of how different artists did it, right? There was a spectrum, very extreme for me, to completely passive, don't say anything. And again, I was in the middle somewhere. So figuring out like how to really advocate for myself as an artist was an important learning lesson that I kind of had to go through. But listening also to that gut. I mean, I think for so long when things got bad at like a job or a situation, I would just keep hoping it would get better. I just kept being like, benefit of a doubt, in time, they're going to figure it out. And it will mean something that I stuck by in this hard time. It really shows my commitment or shows my tenacity, whatever. And again, as I get older and more experienced, I'm just sort of like, I have a shorter time frame of like, yes, I want to try to give people a chance to course correct or whatever. But also like, there's a window of that before it's like excessive and like it's actually harmful for you to be in this very negative, toxic work environment. I did no writing, by the way, those 2 years. So I mean, there was a creative
oh no
yeah, I mean, we're there to write, and I mean, I was so distracted by all the drama going on around me in this foundation, this fellowship that really did not know how to run an arts residency. So it was a gamble both going in, but it was also a gamble to get out. So that's kind of been, I mean, I think, and now like how I advocate for myself as an artist and also a graduate student, I think is all linked to those experiences. Like I'm a lot more vocal when things aren't working. You know, I'm not afraid to like be like, hey, you know, respectfully, what's going on with this? Why are we doing it this way? So I think that's been like a very difficult, and at times it was really like, how am I going to make money? I had like a surprise surgery during that time too, where it's like, surprise, you need surgery and you have no money.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it was like all these things financially being thrown at me, and I just kept being like, no, I cannot go back. I cannot do that anymore, you know? So that's my story of change. I mean, it's a very micro one, but I felt like I talked so much in interviews about like, oh, I got into this cool thing. And I don't think I've really talked about like the disaster of living in Tulsa, Oklahoma. There's great people there. I really don't want to trash on Tulsa because there are great artists that live in that community. But the foundation that I was working with was really, really challenging. And I'm really happy to be out of the cloud. That was that experience, because that was very hard.